Hi everyone, welcome back to Drama Recap. In last video, we have seen Doctor killing himself. There, killer left the Rubik's Cube as a clue. By looking, the detective Jung Suk was terrified and started to hallucinate. So he couldn't sleep on that day night and he will go to psychiatrist. Killer also was seeing the same psychiatrist. Here, Detective Jong Suk couldn't open up himself in front of the psychiatrist and just has to give the some tablet to stop hallucination. Later, he will go to his office and inform the senior about his gun missing. Past continues, where Chuli gives belt to Jung Suk and told him to hit the monitor. But before hitting, school president comes and stops it. After that, class teacher notices the blood on the monitor and calls the parents of Chuli and Jungsuk to school. In principal office, as you can see, Chuli and Jungsuk mother kneeling down and monitor father with full of anger slaps Chuli so many times. Due to this incident, Chuli gets 2 weeks suspended. Jungsuk gets just warning. In present, Detective Jongsuk interrogating the one of the sidekick. As we can see, he is shocked. Then Jungsuk asks him about what happens in yard and asked him about the Rubik's Cube. But he will just reply as he is sorry for Chioli and to forgive him and mentions that Rubik's Cube belongs to the class president. Then they will find out class president became now famous reporter. They will rush to see reporter by thinking he may be the next target. Whereas in past, class president also was a big bully who bullies his juniors. In other side, female detective meets one of killer classmate and she will come to know killer and detective Jung Suk as common best friend and he committed suicide. Later, she will meet Chioli mother who is so poor and the mother gives her photo of Chioli and suicide letter and mentions that in suicide letter it's not Chioli's handwriting. Now Detective Jong Suk goes to reporter office but is surprised. Reporter says he was waiting for detective because killer Hyungmin has told him before. Now 1 year back reporter was also a killer's target. But after background check on him, they will come to know that he became good person and he is helping lot of people who get abused, but killer won't believe, so he will decide to meet him. There reporter asks Hyungmin forgiveness very sincerely, seeing that killer Hyungmin gives him a diary where he wrote everything and said exactly after 1 year to write an article about this and publish it. At last he will say he will never forgive him. In present time, reporter informed him everything and asked him also sorry, but detective was furious and just left the place. Later in the car, Detective Jungsuk got a call from killer and he asked him what's the truth behind Chioli's death because he's the only one who can tell how Chioli died that year. When detective heard that, he was fully scared and started to hallucinate Chioli with full of blood. Past continues. After Chioli suspended, both of them will go to meet him. Chioli was fully depressed and says, "We can't win the game. After all, this is an adult's game, but our parents all are poor. So we won't even survive there." Then, by showing knife, he will say, "Should I kill myself?" Next scene jumps to everyone in the classroom. Teacher announces for morning gathering in the ground. Everyone leaves the classroom there, but Julie goes to upstairs, where he will stand at the edge and spreads his hands. Everyone looks at him from assembly and he will jump off. That shocks everyone to their death. In present, female detective starts to investigate the case separately. With the letter, she will meet forensic doctor and ask him to compare handwriting in the letter and handwriting on behind the photo. But that matches. So she will go and check the detective Jungsuk desk. At that time, he will come there. By seeing her, He was angry. So she revealed her findings and asked him about letter handwriting, but he will deny everything. That makes her more suspicious of him. By somehow, she will get his handwriting and sent to forensic doctor. Past continues. Now Chioli suspended. These two are scared, so they will decide to avoid them. So these bullies will get new target who is nerd and a genius and bullies him. But in order to survive from them, this nerd will make low voltage electric shock gadget and gives to bully. With that, he will start to bully the Jungsuk and Hyungmin by electric shocking them. In present, killer new target is that nerd who is now jobless and he is into dark web. Now he will attack him and he will kill him by electrocuting him. Other side, female detective will come to know that letter was written by Detective Jung-suk. Also found out one of killer warehouse and goes there. She will find a diary over there. She will start to read it. Past continues. Julie meets his father friend and asks him about his father who ran away after being bank corrupt. But you won't be knowing anything. Later night, he will meet Jung-suk while they were walking and talking. They will see class teacher with Julie mother who works at night bar. Next day at school rooftop, Jung-suk and Hyunmin was bullied by those people, but for their surprise, Julie is back. Because that night, after seeing his mother with the teacher, he will meet the teacher and blackmail him to get his suspension clear. Then their hero Cheerly fights and hit them all. Some of them ran away. At that time, school president comes and they will also attack him. Now, 3 senior versus Cheerly, hardcore fighting happening. Of course, as usual, Cheerly wins against them. Afterwards, everyone in the school treats him like an hero. But later on that day, he will come to know about his father's death that breaks him completely. After some days, he will come back to school, but even he was in the grave, everyone was laughing at him. By seeing them, he shouts at everyone and ran away from there. After that, Jung-suk and Hyungmin meets Cheoli in abandoned home and they will take photo together. Later, with heavy-hearted, he will inform them that he wanna commit suicide. And he will say they never can escape from this hell and he don't want to live like a pig among them. And he will make bullies to tremble with fear every time they think of him. But later that night, first Cheoli meets killer Hyungmin, but Hyungmin was kind-hearted. He don't want his friend to die. By seeing that, Cheoli at last changes his mind. Then he will meet Detective Jung-suk and told him that he will just do a show in front of everyone so that no one will bother them anymore. And with a smile, he will tell later in the future, together they will become a police officer and hunt down all criminals. Next day, everyone leaves the classroom to go to assembly. Cheoli goes to rooftop. There, he will climb up. From down, everyone is looking at him. He will spread his hands, but from behind, Jung-suk pushes him. Cheoli didn't know that Detective Jung-suk really became a monster because he thinks Cheoli have to die in order to save them.
Sorry for interruption. If you like the video, please click the like button and subscribe the channel.
Present time, by reading diary, female detective came to know that full story. Now, Hyungmin goes to Cheoli's home and gives his mother full bag of money, and later he will go to graveyard where they buried his wife and keeps his ring over there and asks sorry to her. In the next scene, one day his wife came home early and sees him talking himself and planning everything. By seeing that, she was scared and sorry for him. So she want to end everything. Then she will plan to kill him and kill herself. Next day in press conference, serial killer Hyungmin will show up and confesses everything. At that time, police arrest him. In interrogation room, killer will tell he will only talk with Detective Jung-suk. So detective comes in and switch off the recording button and asks the killer, furious, what does he want from him? At that time, killer Hyungmin told him that he witnessed everything what happened on that day on a rooftop. That day, Hyungmin also followed Cheoli because he wanted to stop him. But for his surprise, he will see Detective Jung-suk pushing Cheoli. At last, killer will say he wanted to do what Cheoli couldn't do with the detective. At the same time, female detective storms inside and showed the diary and she wanted to arrest the Detective Jung-suk for this, but he won't agree by saying this much evidence is not enough for arrest. After that, Detective Jung-suk reported to the superior a lie that the killer has other fugitive and he agreed to show the place. Now, Detective Jung-suk is planning to kill the serial killer. So, by using killer's phone, he will message his friends to attack the police cars. Planned, they will attack the police car and block them. But Detective Jung-suk will try to escape from them and fell into the river. Now in the river, car is filling with the water, but detective's seatbelt is jammed. At last, he will get free and he will look back Hyungmin, but he won't help him and he will come up alone. At that time, killer manager took the keys from him and jumped to the water and saved the killer Hyungmin. Other side, reporter after uploading a article, he will resign for his job and leaves. Now Hyungmin attacks teacher and take him to the same school, tied to the chair, cutted his hand for slow death. Later, manager uploaded the list of bullies and their classmates and burns the warehouse. Female detective came to know someone uploaded the photos of all students who studied with serial killer and told them to come to school. She will rush to the school. There already everyone on the ground. Inside the school, Detective Jung-suk also there. They both goes to the rooftop and fights. At last, Hyungmin will say what really Cheoli wanted to do. That is, Cheoli wanted to do is to jump from the rooftop. And he will lock himself with the Detective Jung-suk and jump from the rooftop. Everyone from ground, by seeing them, was shocked. Female detective also reaches on the rooftop. At first, Detective Jung-suk resists, try to hold on, but at last he will himself falls down, and both of them fell down together. The drama ends here.